right, everything is rolling right along here nicely with the old 16 row. Now, I probably should have bought a 24 row. However, we're running out of power here with this 8320R running any faster than, say, 7 miles an hour or so. You might think that's kind of crazy to be able to plant corn at that speed. You may also be wondering why you would want to drag a corn planter across the ground at that speed. I've asked them very same questions. And I worry about stoning the planter and doing all that stuff, but if you're in good, smooth ground and you know the ground and you can trust the fact that you don't have much stone, you can move right along. Now this is the ExactEmerge planter. It's got a brush assembly that runs the seed right down into the trench. And once we get going at any amount of speed, right now we're running at 6.7 miles an hour. We're not on level ground by any stretch of the imagination. We've got a pretty good sized hill here. Now we're doing a little bit something different. We've got a prescription that we're doing in this field. You can kind of see it here on the field view app. Coming up to this hill, we're having to shift down. Now this is the regular speed that we would be going, 4 to 4.5 mile an hour, and boy, this 320 seems to be an animal when you're pulling at that speed. But you start running and humping along, and let me tell you what, it runs out of power. I could not believe it. Right now we're 7 miles an hour. And you might be asking, well, how good is it actually doing? Well, here's the screen here. We've got very good on the population as far as getting singles and doubles and all that stuff. We're doing really good. We're riding very well. I don't like going this fast. It does not feel right, but it is doing a superb job. It is dropping them seeds right in, right where they need to be. Now this has all John Deere stuff on it. Some of you in the Precision Cloud might think that, oh boy, you know, the precision stuff is where it's at. Well, I can maybe argue against that, but I'm not gonna tell you that your stuff is any better or any worse, but I can tell you that the Deere stuff is right on. It's right there. It is precise. So we won't exactly know what this is gonna look like until after the corn comes up. We can look at the screen and we can assure ourselves that we have excellent singulation and what have you like that, with seed spacing and so on and so forth. I could tell you what some of the precision stuff does is they lie. They lie a little bit with their software and their mapping of their seeds and what have you. You can take a John Deere meter and put it alongside a precision meter, and it'll show on the display that the precision is doing so much better. I mean, look at that graph right there. That is absolutely perfect. That's 6 miles an hour. 6.5. 7. 7.6. 8. It's doing pretty good. So the you can put a precision meter next to a John Deere meter, and it'll show on the precision mapping that, oh boy, the precision stuff is so much better. Well, it's all in the parameters that they have written for their software. It can detect what meter you're running, and it'll always give the precision meter a better report card. The John Deere system will let it read what it is, and that's just how it is. So if you're in the precision camp, well, that's all right, but I can assure you that the John Deere stuff is right on par. Now this system was rather expensive on this planter, but what isn't these days? Seed is expensive, time is expensive, land is expensive, and it's one thing we can't grow any more of is land. So we need to make sure that we are getting as good a bang for our dollar as we can. We got to stretch every acre to be able to produce the maximum amount of tonnage, whether it be corn silage in tons or grain in bushels. So we try to do as good of a job as we can, and we try to be as precise with this stuff as we can. So it involves using the best equipment that you can get your hands on, and you just hope that you get a return on your investment. So everything's going pretty good here. I can assure you that 320 horsepower is not quite enough horsepower to run on this planter. Now, a few years ago when I went out west to look at the 8360 and the 9560, I of course didn't have them bought yet. But I was in Sloan's office when I went into Illinois, and he said, you know what, I've got a couple of 8R 410s available. I said, well, they're out of my price range and they're too much horsepower for what we need. Anything that we would use 400 horsepower on would have to be in an articulated fashion, because we're going to want to pull manure tankers and we need the weight there. I said, what do these guys out here use these high horsepower straight frame four-wheel drive tractors for, mechanical front-wheel drive tractors for? He says, well, they use them on 24-row planters, and 410 horsepower sometimes isn't enough. I said, oh, wow, really? Well, once you get pulling any kind of speed, you need the horsepower. However, out in the West, they don't have the hills like we have. So these guys that are pulling around 24-row planters with 8R 370s, 8R 410s, so on and so forth, they really don't have the hills that we have. I just had to shift down into 8th gear to pull this hill. Now this is a power shift transmission. This 8R, or this 8320R, is equivalent to an 8360R that has an IVT transmission. We can put this 8360 and this 8320 side by side all day long and they'll do the same work. The IVT transmission pulls some more horsepower. And it would be nice playing with IVT. I could just keep on videoing back there, and I wouldn't have had to shift down going up that hill. I could have just kept videoing. I'd have my flip-flops on, my shorts, and I would just be motoring along, playing on social media, so on and so forth with my little IVT. But we're not doing that. So that'll give you an idea of the new corn planter. It's doing an excellent job. I did think for a minute that I probably should have bought a 24 row. Now, I wouldn't have to pull it this fast. It would pull 50% harder than this one. However, I would probably need an articulated tractor to pull it. And the trouble with the articulated tractors, they get a little wiggly. They get a little wiggly on the faster speeds with the auto steer. And that's why them guys out west would rather use a straight frame mechanical front wheel drive tractor. Now, this farm here, we used to farm it this way. Now we're farming it in the opposite direction. It is broke up into, well, it's one field here now. However, at one point in time, it was two different fields. The split was right behind us. I have a seed prescription written for both fields. However, they couldn't combine both of them together. Therefore, I have to plant it separately. We're going to use the same guidance track going in this direction that we're going in now. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to chop them 32 rows out of the center, and to open the field up. That'll work good anyways. A truck over on that far side will be able to travel across the middle of the field, and he'll be able to exit either through this tractor road here out to the back road, or he'll be able to go left down the hill and out on the other back road. So that's what we've got going on. I have filled up one time at home with one seed tote, and I just had to put a little bit more seed in here a little while ago to be able to finish this field with here. I don't have the other corn planter currently going yet. It rained here this morning. They said it was going to rain at 4 o'clock this morning, and at 4 o'clock it started sprinkling. And we ended up getting some heavy rain around 4:30. We got about 4.5 tenths on this field here, but this is all on gravel, and it dried out rather quickly. I started planting here this afternoon about 3:30 or so, and it is 6:30 right now. So I've got everything on this portion of the field done for this prescription for seed, and then I'm going to go on the other side, change my seed prescription around, type in my other field, and then we'll start planting that one. So with that being said, that ought to give you an idea how this is going on here. It's kind of a short video. I just wanted to leave this all in one segment, and we'll be back at you here with some more planting as the year goes on. It's going to rain here for the next few days. That'll give me a chance to button up that other planter. We wanted to field start this one yesterday. We knew we had rain coming, and we figured if we had any hiccups with this, whether it needed a sensor here or a sensor there, we wouldn't be hurting ourselves too much by starting it, realizing we had a problem, and then waiting a day for parts to come in. But everything went seamlessly as far as field starting this in the field here yesterday. So with that being said, that'll give you a glimpse at the higher speed aspect of this planter. And it so much isn't the ability to plant high speed. It's the ability to plant accurately at any speed. You have to go slow with these planters that have a regular seed tube just because of the flicker effect that you have going on with your seed tube as you're going across rough ground. We explained that in the last video. So, with that being said, we're going to keep on keeping on here, and we will catch you at the next one. Everything's working beautifully. All right. Take it easy.